Hello and welcome at another car buyer's review. Today we review the Tiguan, the smaller version of the Touareg. Introduced by Volkswagen in 2007, this is a compact crossover based on the Golf. The internal code for this car is 5N. This car competed with popular cars like the Nissan Qashqai and the Kia Sportage. The first facelift of this car was in 2011. Facelift models are the one to prefer since this made the car look more modern. At the end of 2016, the second generation Tiguan was introduced. Since early 2017, the old Tiguan is not available anymore in the showrooms. In the beginning, the Tiguan was only available with 4Motion, or 4-wheel drive only. Later on, cars were added with front-wheel drive. This being a Volkswagen, lots of engines were available. The petrol engines ranged from 122 until 210 horsepower and the diesels ranged from 110 until 184 horsepower. Here's an overview of engines for this car. What are some of the stronger and what are some of the weaker points when it comes to this particular car? Strengths of this car are the solidity of the Golf combined with the sitting position of an SUV. This car is perfect for towing heavy items over the road. Now to some of the attention points. There are some known issues with the 1.4 TSI engine. This engine also finds its way to the Tiguan. Pistons can sometimes enter the cylinder wall and the timing chains are susceptible to stretching. The 7-speed DSG gearbox had warranty extension in Russia and China, since there have been some issues with it. The same gearboxes have been delivered in Europe. So far there has not been an extension of warranty or a recall in Europe. If you go for a test drive, try to drive the car through a traffic jam or in the city, since this causes the gearbox to shift from a standstill a lot. The gearbox should be able to do this without slipping. Also, gear changes should be effortless. There should be no shock when shifting between gears when you drive. Apparently the 6-speed DSG is more reliable. If you Google DSG problems, you will find a ton of horror stories. This is partly because DSG gearboxes can be found in many cars and are used by many people. You can find them for instance in an Audi, a Volkswagen, a Seat or a Skoda. There are certain companies that specialize in DSG gearboxes only. So yes, there are definitely some issues here. The dual mass flywheel of the DSG is sensitive to overload. So if you pull a heavy trailer or a caravan, this will reduce the longevity of the gearbox. Keep that in mind. Then the 2-liter diesel was part of Dieselgate. This engine should receive a fix from Volkswagen to meet emission standards. People who had their Tiguan fixed complained of more engine noises, less power and a higher fuel consumption. Then the 2-liter petrol engine. That engine likes to take a sip of oil from time to time, especially the earlier production models of this car. Then there are some problems with the head gasket. These can leak and as a result the oil level inside the engine will rise. Repairs should be done immediately. Then let's talk about the rims. The 19-inch rims of the Tiguan, these look terrific, but will make the car considerably less comfortable. Now about the interior. The pre-facelift cars have lots of plastic knobs and switches that are prone for damage. And these switches are not as solid as you would expect from a Volkswagen interior. Then the exterior. This car has some off-road capacity, so make sure that you check the bottom of the chassis for damage. Let's talk about electronics. This car has an electric handbrake that sometimes locks up, resulting in an overload of the gearbox. So, all in all, there are quite some issues when we could talk about the Tiguan here, partly because this car is well documented. These cars came from the era that saw quite some issues with the TSI engines and DSG gearboxes. Maintenance on these cars are important, especially when buying them second-hand. Hope this buyer's review was useful. If so, like the video and subscribe to my channel. See you guys in the next video and have a good new year.